Good afternoon, my darlings. It's Thursday, the 6th of February. I keep having to look at my diary. Obviously, I've got a lot going on in my mind, and I'm a busy lady. But I just wanted to sit down with you this afternoon because we have had a budget. Yeah, an interest rate cut. Let me tell you what it was because I was looking at it. The Bank of England has cut interest rates from 4.75 to 4.5%, their lowest level for 18 months. So it might mean cheaper mortgages for everyone, which would be lovely, and maybe the cost of credit cards might come down. Obviously, the bank has been very cautious because, as they put it, we have narrowly dodged we have narrowly avoided falling into a recession, meaning the economy shrinks for a 2 to 3 month period in a row. Yes, I think we all know what a recession is. Gosh, I don't know. This is madness. This is absolutely crazy. It's it's not really enough to make a difference. Is this interest rate cut? But I suppose it's something. We should be very grateful. Which brings me to today's subject, my darlings. Oh, I love a subject, don't you? Well, today we're talking groceries or food shop or just a plain old food shop, right? I go to Tesco's and that's where I like to do my shopping. And I don't buy many branded things. If I do buy branded or I do splurge, it's only at Christmas. I can't afford to do it any other time of the year. It literally is a Christmas splurge and that's it. And the rest of the time, it's budget basics. It really is. Now, my Tesco food shop per week, when it's just the three of us and the youngest is at university, my food shop for that period can be anywhere between 130 and 120. So I'll go with what I spent last week on the 1st of February, and it's £127 and 76 pence. That's how much I spent for the three of us last week. That worked out at £42 and 58 pence per person per week. Over 7 days, that's £6 and 8 pence per day, and 3 meals a day means I was spending £2 and 2 pence per person per day on a meal, right? Now, I don't always have lunch. I do when it's extremely cold, but the rest of the time I don't bother. So I'll have a couple of slices of toast for breakfast and a cup of coffee, and that'll see me through till tea time. So I do manage to make a reasonable evening meal for the three of us. And it's usually either a casserole or it be sausages or burgers or spaghetti, bolognese or a stir fry. And sometimes on a Friday, if there's a little bit left in the budget, we might have a pork loin steak if we're lucky. Or sometimes it's a beef casserole. It just depends. Or even liver and onions, which is a very filling and very cheap meal. So that's the kind of plain cooking I tend to do. Yes, I add some spices during the week with the stir fries and the Italian cooking and the casseroles and things like that. Um, but I do tend to try and get things to stretch. I really do. And you have to do in this day and age. So that's how we roll here at Fairy Castle. Yeah. Average per month is about £511 and 4 pence at the supermarket, but I do budget for 600 because things go up and down in price, and you can never sometimes gauge how cheap something's going to be or how expensive something's going to be, because food prices are all over the place and there doesn't seem to be any stability there. No, there isn't really. I thought I'd check to see what the average food bill was in the UK for a family of three, according to government statistics, and this is February 2025 I'm looking at. And the closest I could get was up to December of 2024. So obviously things are lagging a little bit behind. But according to the government, the average food bill in the UK for a family of three adults, yeah, in 2024 December was £135. Apparently 100 per week for the food and £35 on eating out. This must be a cheap restaurant. So average by statistics from the government in the UK, £540 per month. Because I didn't think of eating out. I just put that 135 all together and said that that was going to be at the supermarket. So the average UK household for three adults is £540 per month. £45 per person per week. Over 7 days, that £45 is split into £6.42 per person per day. 3 meals a day, £2.14 per person per day. Is this what it's like for you? Are you part of the statistics? Do you roughly spend that on your food if you're a family of three while one's away at university? I've worked out when our youngest is at home, our food bill is around £160 per week, or £640 a month, and that's for four of us when she's at home. And these are four adults. So £160 divided by four people is £40 a week each, right? Or £5.71 a day. And if we're all having 3 meals a day, that's £1.90 per person per day. And I use this as my guide to meal planning. And I haven't counted in the cost of the fuel to make the meal, I've just counted the food. So all my meal planning, I have to go through and see how many meals I can do in that week from the set of ingredients that I've got, and where I can splurge a little or I have to scrape and save a little. And we are just about managing, bearing in mind we have quite a high mortgage and we have various other commitments, i.e. young people away at university, which we are supplementing up there by the tune of £50 a month for food for one person. Yeah, we are. We're paying for her food every week, because on the paltry sum that she has from the government to pay for the course and to pay for her accommodation, there is nothing really in the budget for food. So yours truly, mummy and daddy, have got to pay for that. Oh, and we have to pay for the mobile phone as well because there's no way on earth that she could afford it. Uh, that's why I was hoping with today with the interest rate cut down to 4.5, it might make slight difference to all of us really, but I don't actually think it is because it's not how I would call a meaningful cut. And yes, I know that we're battling with inflation. The whole thing really, it's a bit of a mess. It really is. And with the instability of the cost of the food, not to mention the cost of water, gas, electric, council tax, our mortgages, some of us who have credit card bills, some of us who are paying car payments, there's precious little left at the end of the month. And I can't see a stability within the cost of basic things that we need, like keeping the lights on, keeping the heating. I don't actually put the heating on during the day in the house because obviously it costs money. And if it's only me that's in the home, well, I'll just put an extra jumper on and an extra pair of trousers on, you know. Um, Sometimes when it gets bitter, like it is right now, it's like -4 outside. I thought it was going to warm up today, but it hasn't. I have had to put my little fan heater on in the office behind me. And it's incredibly, I mean, even that blowing out like it is doing, I'm still cold. I'm still chilled to the bone. I cannot feel my little toes, which is not healthy. And I'm a youngish person. Imagine if I was an elderly lady. I'd have hypothermia by now. I wouldn't be very well, put it that way. So, getting back to the price of our groceries then. Do you think for a three-person household, £135 is a realistic figure according to the government? Or should we say £540 a month on food? Is that a realistic figure? Is it more for you or is it less for you? I mean, like I've said, I budget £600 for food, of which in my home, 511 is spent on the food. And that's not including sending £50 a month to the youngest in Newcastle. I'm paying her phone bill and anything else that she needs. Ay, 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 ay. The prices already, they go through the roof. I don't know. It's a good job I live above the shop, isn't it? I don't have to pay, take into consideration travel expenses to get to work in the morning. It's just a slide down the banister. I'm a lucky lady in that department. Ah, goodness, I don't know. Where's it going to end? Rachel Reeves apparently is upset because growth isn't there. I wonder why. I really do. I also found out recently that I think it's Barclays and Lloyd's and was it Nat West? I'll have to look that one up. Job cuts. January 2025. Oh, I need to write United Kingdom. Office for National Statistics. Employment in the UK, January 2025. In the year to September to November in 2024, the UK employment rate was largely unchanged at 74.8%. The UK unemployment rate increased to 4.4%, and the UK economic inactivity rate decreased to 21.6%. Hmm, it's not really telling me, it's hiding it all. You know what they say, blind you with science? All I wanted to know what the figures were. Banks, layoffs. I knew that the banks were doing some. Europe's banks kick off sweeping job cuts in the year of reckoning, according to Fortune, 6 days ago. Okay, these are investment banks. No, they're not. Here we are. This is one I was looking for. Lloyd's to let customers use Halifax and Bank of Scotland branches, raising job cut fears. Lloyd's currently has about 932 branches, but previously announced closures that will take the figure down to 892 by the end of 2025. So they're going to make. Oh, yes, there we are. Lloyd's Banking Group announces second major restructuring of the year. 50 job losses. Well, it might not sound like a lot. Barclays is cutting technology jobs and mandating extra office days. At the end of January, the bank has cut 51 developers working across the credit equities. So they've cut a 50. Huh. So it looks as though HSBC as well. All right, so the banks are starting to make people redundant. Okay, fine. I know Sainsbury's are, and I know Tesco's are. I don't know how many jobs at the moment. They've just announced that they're going to make redundancies. So I think they were shutting their coffee shops and bakeries. So no more fresh breads, things like that. So everything's going to be bought in from the suppliers, I suppose. Um, Goodness me, this is quite worrying. We're only in February and they're talking about job losses. I mean, I know that companies go through a hiring and firing. It's part and parcel of how the business moves and breathes and copes. But when you've got the possibility of a looming redundancy hanging over you, if you're in that sector, and you're worrying about paying your bills and the cost of groceries, food obviously, going up, as well as everything else, you must be starting to question whether or not Britain PLC is actually working properly. Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking my husband and I are just about managing and supporting our daughters as well as everything else that we're having to do. And we're just about managing and we're nowhere near getting ready for retirement because that's just not on the cards for us at this current moment in time. Just keeping the wheels turning is what's important right now, not retirement, just keeping the wheels going round and keeping the family moving, and coping. At what point do I hold up my hands and say, I can't do this anymore? And I'm wondering if we don't start to take a pragmatic approach to the current financial situation that the United Kingdom finds itself in, the people like myself, the just about managing, the jams, as we're nicknamed, well, we're not going to be managing anymore. And we are the ones that are the backbone, really, of this country. We're the ones that are paying our taxes and paying our way and not taking anything out, but are actual contributors to the system. And if you break us in half and leave us with no ability to do that anymore, to be a contributor to the system and not a taker, if you take away our ability to contribute to the system and we're the last ones doing so, then where is your country going to be? Rather worrying, isn't it? It's a very concerning, and it's something that we talk about an awful lot, my husband and I. We're literally looking at the way that everything's spiraling out of control cost wise, and there are less putting into the system than there are taking out. Well, obviously, there's more taking out than there is putting in. So, at what point does the United Kingdom declare itself bankrupt? Because if I was looking at the United Kingdom as a business right now, and I said you have more going out than you have coming in, therefore your business is untenable. And if your business is untenable, then you have to declare yourself bankrupt, which would bring about a force majeure. And that would, in turn, send economic policies into absolute turmoil. And it wouldn't just be here within the United Kingdom. This would ripple across the entire financial institution across the world. So, how many more countries are basically built on a pack of cards? And all it takes is a very strong gust of wind to blow it all down. I would say the financial structure of the United Kingdom at the moment, if I was Rachel, I would be very, very worried. And I would be doing my utmost damnedest to try and balance the books. But you have to do it, Rachel, in a way that isn't crucifying the ones that are actually paying into the system. Because if we stop paying in, darling, you won't have anywhere to go, will you? Because there'll be nothing else to take. Well, on that happy note, my darlings, I hope you're feeling fabulous and getting ready for the weekend. I sure as know I am. Yes, and the next few days I might not be around as much, but that is purely because I have got other commitments. However, if I do manage to pop on, I will do, and I'll give you a cheery note. How well did I do at the supermarket this week? Who knows? Will I come back with a lump of coal, or will it be one potato? Who knows? Anyway, my loves, we always have to look on the brighter side of things. I bet no wonder they say that Gen X is the doomer generation and we always find a way to laugh at the apocalypse. I don't think we've got any other way to deal with it right now. Take care, my darlings. Bye bye.